To call to order the County Commission meeting of November the 18th, 2019. We welcome all of our guests that are here with us today and encourage you to come back as often as you have an opportunity. Before we introduce Commissioner Ash to do our prayer and pledge, I would just ask that we have a moment of silence in honor of Commissioner Gary Keith that left us this last week. If you would bow with me. Amen. Commissioner Ash.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to be able to do this, and I've asked a Navy veteran and Army veteran to participate. I think I can keep them apart during this.
Which one's which.
This is a Navy guy, and this is the Army guy. And honor both of these men's service and so many other veterans who actually serve on this commission, and many who are in the audience tonight. So if you would, Brother Dan, if you'd say the prayer, please.
Please rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before this body here in the county courthouse in Wilson County to conduct the business here before this audience. We ask your blessing on everybody here. We ask wisdom and guidance on all these decisions, important votes that are taken. We ask safe travel for everybody to and from this evening. We're very thankful for all that you provide for us, our health and our families, Lord, and this great county that we live in and the freedom that we enjoy in this great country of ours. We're especially thankful for all those veterans who serve and have died and help to protect the peace and provide freedom that we all enjoy every day. We ask all this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you would, follow me at the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, man. If you will, press yes on your panel to record your presence at tonight's meeting. Say down. We have 25 present and 0 absent at this time. I'll introduce Commissioner Jerry McFarland to do a historic moment.
Got to get wired here. I'm good.
Is it green?
Green, we're good. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, thank you so much for being here. And tonight I'm going to talk just a few minutes about Major David Wilson and a little bit about how our county acquired its name. There's a handout, commissioners, on your desk, and I'm just going to run through a little bit on the front, and then I'll jump down through the handout and share a little bit about it. David Wilson was, next one too, please. David Wilson was from Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. I've heard reports that he was also born in Pennsylvania and moved there. But his wife, Jean, they lived there. They had a couple 100-acre farm. And in the late 1700s, 1785, in that range, he moved to what is now known as Sumner County. He settled there first on a place where he called Wilson's Station. He ran a tavern there and later moved, and I will show you that on the next slide. But one thing about him, he was a very dynamic man. If he was a major in the Continental Army, he commanded 3 companies of soldiers. And at that time, North Carolina was, or we in Tennessee were part of North Carolina. As you can see on the map up there, we were what was known as the Monroe District, or the military district of the Western Territories of North Carolina. And you can see how large Sumner County was at the time. But a little bit more about him is that he owned property, a lot of property, about 4,000 acres at one time. He owned property in Sumner, Wilson, Davidson, Williamson, Bedford, and Marshall counties. But Bedford and Marshall counties at that time was what's known as Indian territories, and they could not go there and claim their property. He served as a major in the Continental Army, a surveyor, legislator's magistrate, county registrar, and one of the first taverns there along the Buffalo Trace. Next, please, ma'am. If you can look on the right side of the screen right there, you see Wilson Station. These lines are the old Buffalo Traces. Why is that important? Buffalo Traces later became roads, dirt roads, and later became highways. Well, he was just off one of the Buffalo Traces, and the reason he was stationed there was there were no dry Indian camps, and there were no dry pioneer camps or pioneer homes. So there was a spring right there. That's the reason he settled there. Later, he moved up a little bit further north to Clay Lick. And the reason for that, it was found that the clay there, once heated, molded and heated, made an excellent brick for a permanent home, which will be shown on the next slide. Now this slide, photograph, was made of the David Wilson home in Sumner County in 1951. The lady standing there, second from the left as you're looking at it, is Miss Hicks. She was the owner of the home at that time. But you can see that the home was pretty much in bad repair in different areas. And since then, it had been renovated twice. Next slide, please. The Wilson home, after the first renovation, looked very much like it. It became quite nice, gorgeous. And the next slide, please. This is the later renovation. Now that particular home is a, what would you say, it's an event center where you can have weddings, conferences, meetings, and it's just absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous place to come and visit. We found out just before our last commission meeting that in fact there was going to be a rededication and a marker laid at the grave of Major David Wilson. So if we look at the next slide, I want to read a couple of things to you here. You can read this at home when you get there. The monument was made by Commissioner Terry Ash's grandfather here in Lebanon in 1951. It was a monument to him for the school, for the county being named for him. And I'll quote from here: the campaign to get this monument began at Shop Spring School after a pilgrimage to the abandoned family cemetery where Major Wilson is buried. Mrs. Smith, appreciation for the first of Major Wilson and his career, and second for the people in gratitude, virtually raised 100% of the money for this from the school children of Wilson County and other patriotic organizations. So there's some good reading in there from a 1951 article in the paper. I hope you'll take time when you get back to read it. The monument is on the next slide, if you will. This monument was placed at the same time the photograph of the home was made, the first photograph, in 1951. And the monument was placed in front of the old courthouse out on the public square. That monument today is sitting out front of our courthouse here, and it reads as, next slide, in the memory of David Wilson, Major, Continental Army, 1742 to 1804, pioneer settler, legislator whose name Wilson County proudly bears his name. Next slide, please. There was a ceremony after our last commission meeting, took place in Sumner County at the home and the cemetery of David Wilson. And the mayor was in attendance, I was, and Miss Diane Weathers was in attendance there also. And after the ceremony, the marker, and let me tell you, I was there several years ago when I first made a little talk about this, excuse me, but the original stone was about a foot square and it's totally weathered out, looked horrible. And now they've got this new stone with a bronze plaque. Next slide, and last slide, please, showing the grave of Major Wilson, and it's just very distinguished to have it there. Now, I want to introduce somebody, a distinguished guest in our audience, the great nephew of David Wilson, Mr. Frank Wilson. Would you and Miss Peggy stand up? And I'd like for everybody to recognize him and give him a round of applause. I talked to Frank this morning on the phone. I said, Frank, I really wouldn't drive from Franklin, Nashville, wherever it is, to Lebanon just to hear about a 3-minute talk about your great uncle. But he said, I'm coming anyway. So we're delighted to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for attending. We're delighted that the county bears the Wilson name. Thank you so much. And that's your moment for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McFarland, and thank you for being here as well. The attendance tonight, we honor your presence here. Thank you for coming and making the trip. At this time, we will have the report from Steering Committee. Commissioner Patton. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Adoption of the agenda. Commissioner Patton.
Motion for the adoption of the agenda.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Thank you. And there is no consent agenda. Is that correct? Okay. Special recognition at this time. Commissioner Patton for resolution of the Watertown volleyball team. Get it out in a minute.
Have the Watertown volleyball girls and Coach Randy, y'all come forward, please. Okay, we got everybody? Oh, we can smile at the camera. The resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, honoring the 2019 Watertown Lady Tigers volleyball team. Whereas the Watertown High School Lady Tiger volleyball team finished this season with an overall season record of 35 wins and only 7 losses, the best record in school history. And whereas this team of talented young women made their 3rd straight SSAA state tournament appearance, finishing as runner-up in the Class A state tournament after finishing in 5th place in 2017 and 3rd place in 2018. And whereas on their way to the state tournament in Murfreesboro, they were regular season champions, district tournament champions, regional tournament champions, and sectional tournament champions. And whereas these ladies comprise the first Watertown sports team to play for a state championship. And whereas senior members of the team include Michaela Cherry, Allie Conrad, and Sydney Morrell. And whereas junior members include Brittany Allison, Natalie Fountain, Brooklyn Davis, Michaela Nix, Faith Pulley, and Mackenzie Whitney. And whereas sophomore members include Carson Cowan, Allie Tunks, Abby Parkerson, Gayla Holbrook, Morgan Brown, Veda Pemberton, and Kelly Mock. And whereas freshman members include Sarah Putnam, Kendall Buchanan, Addie Warren, Chloe Poston, Madison Baskin, Summer Cessnan, Lanny Allen, Maddie Brewer, Bethany Luttrell, and Becca Fripp. And whereas this team was coached by Brandy Holcomb and assisted by Matt Davis and Marcy Morrell. And whereas others who played vital roles for this team during their championship season included team manager Zoe Baskin, team trainer Carl Newton, and principal Darian Brown. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that this resolution be presented to head coach Brandy Holcomb, each member of the team and coaching staff, and the support staff at Watertown High School Lady Tiger volleyball team for display at Watertown High School in recognition of the outstanding and historic season of the Watertown High School Lady Tiger volleyball team. Motion to approve?
All in favor, say aye.
Oh, you're right. Now, hold on just a second. Okay, you can say something. And then everybody gets a copy. And then this is Coach.
I'm not usually a person of short words, as my girls can tell you, but I'll be brief. I do want to say thank you. It means a lot. I want to say thank you to my administration, my family, my girls, and I'd like to thank God and give Him the glory first for all of this. Thank you.
I have a copy for each one of the girls in here, if you give them each a copy. And as you leave, I want everybody to come up to the podium, state your name, look that direction, and state your name as you walk out.
Are they all the same?
Everyone's the same. They're all the same. So you go ahead.
I'm Sydney Merle. I'm Carson Cowan. I'm Gayla Holbrooks. I'm Brooklyn Davis. Morgan Brown. I'm Becca Fruit.
I'm Brittany Allison. I'm Kaylin Cherry.
Maddie Brewer.
Mackenzie Whitley.
Madison Baskin. Lainey Allen. Theta Pemberton. Addison Warren. Abby Parkerson.
Allie Tux.
Matt Davis.
Congratulations, Coach Holcomb and volleyball ladies. This time, Commissioner Stafford has special recognition.
I'd like all the education committees to come and join me. Education committee members, please come and join me.
Commissioner Stafford, you may ask Dr. Wright to come forward or not.
Dr. Wright, would you come up here, please? Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, honoring Director of Schools Dr. Donna Wright as the 2020 Tennessee Superintendent of the Year. Whereas Dr. Donna Wright has served as Director of Schools for Wilson County Schools since 2014. Dr. Wright has been a public school educator for nearly 40 years, having served as a teacher, principal, administrator, and assistant superintendent before her appointment to the Director of Schools position with the Wilson County Schools. And under her leadership, the Wilson County school system has achieved many honors and awards. This year, Wilson County has named as exemplary school district with 12 reward schools and 10 schools with a level 5 TVAAS status. Dr. Wright has been selected by the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendent as the 2020 Tennessee Superintendent of the Year. In making the announcement, TOSS Executive Director Dr. Hale Lynch recognized Dr. Wright as a trailblazer in the field of public education for decades, being recognized in Tennessee and across the country for growing the Women in Leadership program. And as Tennessee's nominee for Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Wright will be eligible for the National Superintendent of the Year Award sponsored by the American Association of School Administrators and will represent the state of the Tennessee at the 2020 National Conference on Education in San Diego. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that we hereby honor and recognize Wilson County Director of Schools, Dr. Donna Wright, as Tennessee's selection for 2020 Superintendent of the Year. Congratulate her on her years of success as Wilson County Director of Schools and offer our support and encouragement in the American Association of School Administrators selection as National Superintendent of the Year.
Approved. All in favor, say aye.
we believe in giving people their flowers while they're here, and she's more than deserving.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've said it many, many times, not only is it an honor, but it's also a privilege to serve as director of schools. But I will also say, as many times as we've had some contentious meetings, but good meetings, that much of the success can be attributed to this body because you support this school system. And in many places, that is simply not the case. And we're as successful as what you promote us and allow us to be. And there's more to come. And I thank you sincerely from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wright, and thank you for your dedication to Wilson County education. This time, I would ask Commissioners Vanatta and Commissioner Dow to come forward.
Chris, and I would like to ask the Bone family to come up, please. I asked Chris to read this, and he told me no, so I guess you're going to listen to me. We got Squire Bone coming here. And Dr. Bone, and Connie, hi.
Hey, y'all can get on this.
Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, in memory of Harold Gordon Bone Sr. Whereas Harold Gordon Bone Sr. was a native and resident of Wilson County, Tennessee, the youngest of 3 sons of Sam Stratton Bone Sr. and Margaret Frances Talley Bone. And whereas Gordon, as he preferred to be called, was a leader, mentor, advisor, encourager, and friend to many. And whereas Gordon was a 1959 graduate of Lebanon High School, a graduate of Cumberland University, the University of Tennessee, and the University of Virginia's Consumer Banking School. And whereas his employment history included serving as vice president of a large Tennessee bank for a number of years, as well as a director of First Bank and Trust in Mount Juliet until its merger with a larger regional bank in 1999. Whereas he served on many bank boards and was a leader for several nonprofit agencies and foundations like the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, as well as being a partner in Horizon Concrete Company, Horizon Construction and Development Company, and Total Healthcare Systems. Whereas Gordon was very active in non-employment roles, including being a charter member of the Lebanon Breakfast Rotary Club. Having served on its board, he was a Paul Harris Fellow, as well as a member of Lebanon First Presbyterian Church, where he served as an elder. Whereas Gordon's commitment to his fellow man may have been exemplified by his years of service to Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation as a board member and a longtime chairman of the board, where his leadership was extraordinary, showing a special appreciation and support for the employees, and where he rewarded the members' trust by being a model board member. And whereas aside from all these endeavors, Gordon never forgot about his agricultural upbringing and was a lifelong farmer, passing away on July the 2nd, 2019, while working on his farm. Whereas Gordon was a family man, married 47 years to this lady, Patricia Bone. He had has two children, Margaret Sue Ann Bone and Harold Gordon Bone, Hal Bone Jr., as well as 5 grandchildren. I think there's only 2 here tonight. Whereas committed to whatever task and responsibility was asked of him, he willingly accepted and was committed to, and from his efforts, left Wilson County and the surrounding area a much better place to live and work. Whereas his example of integrity and commitment, as well as love and devotion to his family and diligence and dedication to all his endeavors will continue to serve as a testimony to his life's work and be an example for others to follow. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that this resolution be adopted in memory of Harold Gordon Bone and his many contributions to Lebanon and Wilson County. Be it further resolved that an original resolution be presented to the family of Harold Gordon Bone Sr. in appreciation and remembrance of his service and commitment to the citizens of Wilson County. Chris and I move that this resolution be approved.
All in favor say aye.
Yeah, just a Howard. And you got one for Howard? Yeah. And I'm sure we can get some more if some of the other family members want one, right?
We can get that taken care
So
of.
just let us know and we can get others, okay? And I know Patricia wants to say something, and I don't know if anyone else wants to, but the microphone is yours.
I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of our family. We are indeed appreciative and very honored for this honor. We heard all the things that he was involved in and that he did, and he was a man that was involved in a lot of different things and enjoyed doing them all. But I want to take just a brief moment to mention something that some of you don't know. As I said, we were married for 47 years. This coming Sunday would be our anniversary. It'd been 48 years. We dated for a little over a year, so I really knew him for 49 years, but I really didn't know him. I didn't know him until after he passed away, because I found out then from so many people the number of lives that he touched that I knew absolutely nothing about, and I don't think his children, his brothers, or so many other knew. If there was a child who wanted to go to college, he helped. He helped to see that that was done. If there was someone who was a first-time buyer in a home and they needed some help, he helped any way he could. The thing that has brought, I think, all of us the most joy has been hearing some of the stories that, things that he did that we had no idea that was being done. The other thing that brought us joy was the way he left this earth, because he always said, when my time comes, I hope I'm with my cows. And he was. So for those two things, they do bring us comfort. I know in the Bible it says that we are to be servants of Christ. And Gordon was definitely a silent servant. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, when he entered the gates, I'm quite sure that God said, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant, well done." Again, thank you. On behalf of this family, we appreciate it very much, and it will always be cherished. Thank you. Am I ready to go now?
Ms. Pat, I would like to say this to you and your family before you leave, if I could. I have had a chance to listen and to hear the stories as you have, and I didn't get to experience them like you did, but I think the thing that I heard the most from people is that Mr. Gordon was a friend to everyone, and he was an inspiration to all of us that are in leadership to be like him. And I think your family are the family that's brought up when you think of the Kennedys or the Bushes. And that's rare that you have a family that spreads out so much and makes such of a difference throughout everybody in that family over a community and in our county as well as the state of Tennessee. So I thank all of you for what you've done throughout this county. Not only Mr. Gordon, but your whole family. And the way you spoke today is a true evidence of how it spreads throughout your family. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank all of you. Thank you. Commissioner Bannock.
Evermean Evergreen Cloggers come up and join me?
Ain't gonna sneak up on nobody, you're right about that.
I can fill in both sides.
Go from one emotion to the other in here.
All right, whereas the Evermean Evergreen Cloggers were established in 1985 under the direction of Miss Johnny Payton, and whereas Miss Payton incorporated clogging into her music program at Sam Houston Elementary School and taught the kids to clog during their classes, and whereas the clogging group grew so much that she had to start giving lessons after school at Sam Houston, and whereas the Evermean's first competition was in 1986 in Pigeon Forge and was shortly followed by a second competition in Knoxville, and whereas they competed, traveled to competitions and workshops throughout the Southeast up until 2000, and whereas in 2012, Miss Johnny gave Melissa Pack and Laura Montgomery permission to use the Evermean name again for a group of cloggers they were currently teaching. And whereas in 2012, the new generation of Evermeans performed in the 4th grade Tennessee program at Sam Houston Elementary and were announced as the Evermean Evergreen Cloggers. And whereas the team opened their own studio, Evermean Studios, in June of 2016, located at 1447 West Bador Parkway in Lebanon, Tennessee, where they currently have 93 total cloggers. These cloggers make up the competition team and the recreational performance teams. Whereas the team won the first national championship title in 2013 in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and have since gone on to win 14 titles in American Clogging Hall of Fame, 1 title in National Clogging Hoedown Council, and 2 titles in Clogging Champions of America. They won their latest national championship this past October, and whereas the team travels throughout the year to Tennessee, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Kentucky to compete and represent Lebanon, Tennessee. And whereas in 2018, all 3 clogging organizations held their national championships in the state of Tennessee, the Evermeans competed in all 3 nationals and brought home national titles in each organization for the year 2018. Whereas the current competition team consists of 25 members: Melissa Pack, Rob Pack, Laura Montgomery, Madalie Montgomery, Stan Pack, Carter Higgins, Isabella Pryor, Chapel Bell, Addison Bell, Allie Clark, Emma Keith, Emily Massey, Lucy White, Morgan Hoke, Isabel Jacober, Carly Blackburn, Bryson Blackburn, Kalina Ralston, Ellie Denton, Emily Brown, Renee Jenkins, Natalie Whitman, Maddie Maynard, Ellie Maynard, and Amber Trammell. And whereas the Evermeans are set to perform in Walt Disney World in 2020, as well as partake in an international performance trip in the year 2021. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, that we hereby honor and congratulate the Evermean Evergreen Cloggers on the observance of their accomplishments and to join with them Miss Johnny Payton, family, and friends in celebration of this team's career.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. All right, and I think we're in for a special treat. They're going to perform for us.
You guys are going to perform for us, right? Okay. Yeah, we're going to get a performance right quick if Mr. Chat or somebody can move that. They got it? Oh, he's got it? Okay. He's got it. How bad? I've had a chance to visit them in their studio, and they do a mean rocket. I don't know if they do rocket. No Rocky Top Rock. Yeah. If y'all will come back this way where you just state your name, that way everybody knows who you are.
I'm Chapel Bell. Colleen Ralston. Isabella Pryor. Natalie Montgomery. Lucy White. Addison Bell. Emma Keith.
Carter Higgins.
Amber Trammell. Emily Brown. Carly Blackburn. Isabel Jacober. Maddie Maynard. Emily Massey. Ellie Denton. Eli Maynard.
Thank you to the PACs and all of you for taking the time to be here today. Y'all do an awesome job. It's time now for a report from the Minutes Committee. Commissioner Bishop.
13 on your desk, and if you would kindly insert those with your other minutes, please, I would appreciate it. The Minutes Committee met here at the courthouse on November the 7th at 6 in the upstairs conference room with all committee members present. The minutes of the last commission meeting were approved and are in your packet along with the committee minutes, meeting minutes. I make a motion that this report be received and filed.
Motion.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Thank you. Reading of the minutes? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Okay. This time, Ms. Charity Toombs, if you would come forward for the Expo report. As she's coming forward, Mayor Jennings, do you have a report for us?
Yeah, I've been asked about the lawsuit that commonly came to be known as the liquor tax lawsuit over the last 5 years. Commissioner Mike Kurtz represented the Lebanon Special School District and myself and for the county, and then Jim Logan for both of us. But last Thursday, we were successful in that lawsuit. Uh-oh, it's going to be difficult. And we wound up getting a judgment for $472,660 plus interest that the city of Mount Jude is calculated at $202,782 for a total judgment of $675,442. Commissioner Kurtz let me know that the city of Mount Jude has already approved on first reading paying that amount, so it looks like it's very close to being over. And that money, 17.01% of it will go to the special school district, and the balance will go to the Wilson County Board of Education. So
That paid a lump sum, Mike, or over a period of time?
it looks like a lump sum from this. So that one hopefully is concluded in the next few days.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. Ms. Charity?
Good evening. This week, we celebrate a milestone as it marks 3 years since the Expo opened its doors. Since that time, we have ushered in hundreds of events, welcoming more than 1 million guests each year and having contributed to more than a 10% year-over-year growth in hotel motel tax and a steady increase in sales tax. On your desk, I have submitted a report of a recent Expo event and the impact one multi-day event can have in our community. It has this very sweet face on it. As you can see, the numbers are impressive. Event attendees who stay in our community overnight are spending $266 per person versus those who come for just the day at $62 per person. It is our opinion for continued growth, it is our goal to help this and other events generate the most impact through overnight stays and multi-day events. As important as it is to reflect back on our beginnings tonight, it is also important to recognize where we are going. I invite you to set your sights on 2020 as we debut a sample of collective coming events. We invite you to come and experience the many happenings at the Expo. As I conclude my report, I leave you the first glimpse of the Dancing Lights of Christmas expanded tent experience. This seasonal attraction welcomes over 40,000 cars to our grounds during the holiday season. Welcome to Santa's Village. Barring any questions, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Charity. I have three things to share with you tonight. One, we reached from the today, and I'll send all three of these out to you in a letter this week. Just wanted to go over it with you. TDEC, of course, asked us to divert 25% of our solid waste from the landfill. Our landfill reached 39% this year, and so we received a letter of approval from the Tennessee Department of Conservation. Also received a letter from Mr. Ron Queen, and Aaron may share this tonight. I don't know if it is not, but where we got approval from the comptroller for our budget that you guys passed earlier, confirmation of that, and so you may talk about it tonight, but I know it's important. And the last thing is, last year we had a meeting here of the Rutherford County Mayor, Williamson County, Sumner County, and myself, and we talked about a bill that was put out in the legislature to copy the Tennessee River Act. And it goes back, and it's really based on this year, what is called a Tennessee Local Education Capital Investment Act. And we met as mayors and just talked about, with large growth happening to us, how can we offset that for capital improvements? And so that bill actually ran last year, did not make it, but we're coming back again this year with that. Now, what would that mean? That money would come from the State Department. It would be 2% of the 7% that goes to them in sales tax. What it would mean to Wilson County is about $1.58 million in dollars that could be spent on capital education improvements. Special School District, of course, would get their share as well, which is about $85,504. So I will be taking this resolution, and this resolution I'm talking about bringing to you, I'll come back through the proper committees, but we will be stating to our legislatures that we would like for them to ask the governor to fund this bill. There is a capital fiscal note on this for about $32 million. that they would encounter, but it got a lot of traction last year. So when about this particular act, I just wanted you to know about it ahead of time as it starts working its way through the committee process, and it will come to you next month, okay? And if you have any questions about any of that, please let me know, and I'll be glad to talk to you about that. Seeing no other comments here. Mr. Goodall, how about the notary list? Anybody to be added? Do I hear a motion to approve it? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Report from the Emergency Management Committee. Commissioner Glover?
Report next month.
Okay. Our Emergency Management Director's report. Director Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor, County Commissioners. Our call volume for October was 1,518. That's up by 90 calls from last month. In addition, I wanted to pass along that we celebrated the retirement of Shift Commander Danny Herron and congratulated him on a total of 34 years of dedicated service to Wilson County. So I just wanted to pass that along to you. Also, my brother is recovering well, so thank you for your thoughts. Other than that, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Director Cooper. Report from Law Enforcement Committee. Commissioner Rich? No report. Sheriff's report. Sheriff Bryan? And it would be Chief Owen tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. You should find a copy of the October monthly activity report in your packets. Just a couple quick things. Call for services are down this month, which is always a good thing. But compared to last October, they're up by 418 calls. Ebb and flow, I don't get it, but there it is. Total book through our facility this month was 602 with the highest population of 509. We did get some help from the state over the last couple of weeks. We were able to send some state inmates down to correctional facilities. So as I left today, we stand at 466, which is a good thing. Work buses are out, litter, special details, working every day. And lastly, I hope each and every one of you received an invitation to the luncheon Thursday, Sheriff's Office, Sheriff's Luncheon. Starts at 11, and hope you all can attend. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, Chief Owen. Report from Education Committee, Commissioner Stafford. No report. Director of Schools report, Dr. Donna Wright.
You should have the report in your packet, as well as a copy of our HR report that was presented to the board last month. I think you might find some interesting information. It's one that not only was it complete, but also giving some projections for the future. And just going through it, some things I want to point out to you on page 3 of that report is just looking at the number of certified applicants for 2018-2019. I've brought it to this body's attention before, but if you just look at people that are declaring majors in education, college freshmen in 2015, it was 10% were declaring as a major education. 2017, it's dropped to 4.6%. And that's more than alarming when you look at what we are seeing as future projections, particularly in the next decade, as far as those individuals that will be looking at education as a profession and the growing number of students, particularly in this state. I would also like to point out to you, as far as looking at the number on that first page, as far as 934 classified employees,
100 certified administrators, 1,345 certified teachers, and we're talking about 25 campuses, 9th largest school district out of 145 districts in the state, for a total of 2,379 employees. And one other thing that which is something that we pointed out to our board, if you'll look on page 7, as far as certified retention in 2018, 2019. And I point this out simply because when you look at just either natural attrition of those that are retiring, those are looking at for either other professions to go into, or even as I refer to it, we're free agents now in the field of education as far as going out to the highest bidder. And we're seeing that particularly strong in Middle Tennessee. And if you are in special education, if you're in upper division math, science, world languages, and any of the specialty areas, they're being tempted by bonuses, stipends, encouraged to that if you'll come and you want to continue your education elsewhere, we will pay for master's degrees, whatever it might be. And that's becoming very competitive and something I've certainly not seen in the last 40 years. But you have the breakdown there, and again, just giving you an idea that we are seeing, particularly those that have less than 5 years, looking to other professions right now because it has become extremely hard. And just the difficulty when you look at federal regulations, looking at unfunded mandates, looking at what is occurring that's really taking the joy of teaching out of the classroom. And that's something that we're working hard to see what we can do to turn that around, because we've got to bring more control at the local level where we can bring that back into how it impacts the classroom. But just giving you an idea, we are so fortunate in this district as far as looking at level effectiveness, and that is something that the state gauges as far as the teacher classroom performance, and it's based on everything from observations to testing, and level 1 being lowest, level 5 being the highest. And right now, 86% of our staff, 86% are level 4s and 5s. That's absolutely incredible. And you'll see the breakdown on page 8 as far as level 3, we have about 9% or 120. And level 1s or 2s, what we're looking at right there is really less than 2%, there's 28. And so those are the teachers that are either new to the profession, but those are the ones what I refer to as coaching up and moving them up into those upper levels. So again, that report's pretty complete, one that we will be updating every year, but I wanted to make sure that was in your packet as well. And other than that, there was very little as far as the report. We've named the new principal for Green Hill High School, Kevin Dawson, who was formerly at West Wilson, and Beverly Sharp, which those of you that have been in Mount Juliet for any length of time, she is renowned, not only as a classroom teacher, but also as an administrator, will be the new principal at West Wilson. I just want to note that this past week, Mickey Hall was recognized by state colleagues and peers as the 2019 TASBO State Business Official of the Year. And again, that was being recognized by peers in like positions throughout the state. We're in the midst of individually recognizing each of our 12 reward schools, which is over half of our schools that qualified. And just as a reminder, that places those schools in the top 5% in the state. And you're going to hear me say that a lot, but that's something that's not happened by accident, but the incredible work of our staff in each of those schools. And it places our district in the top 21 districts out of 145 in achievement and growth in the state. And then just as a final note, knowing that there's a resolution that's coming before this body tonight to approve a sales tax referendum for March of 2020, that not only is it approved by the Wilson County Board of Education, but also by me. And if we're successful in that moving through, the highest priority for the Wilson County Board of Education is looking at raises for classroom teachers. And that is something that we hope that we are successful with that. And with that concludes my report.
Will the report be received and filed?
Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Dr. Wright.
To mention one more person with the state, Larry Tomlinson.
Oh. Larry Tomlinson was recognized and acknowledged as far as joining the board of directors for the Tennessee School Board Association. Boy, thank you. could not let that get by.
I got a question, Dr. Wright.
Yes, sir.
For some reason, Mayor, our request to speak keeps going off, I don't know why. But I've been watching the school board streaming live, and it's great, but the audio is not, I just can't hear it. I got an amplifier on my computers, both of them at home. Would you look into the possibility of streaming it on our television channel, please?
I don't know if that would be a possibility, but you're the only one that we've heard any,
Well, I've heard it from several folks, but.
okay, well, we have a large audience, but I'll double check that.
We're talking about a $4,700 piece of equipment. The port's already there, somebody to send a signal to us. Would appreciate if you look into it.
Well, I'll most certainly look at it.
Thank you.
Anyone else, any other questions? Seeing none, okay, we'll approve, the report's already been approved, so we're good to go. Reports from Public Works Committee, Commissioner Weathers. Committee reports here now, Ag Center Management, Commissioner Scruggs.
November the 1st, send it back in the packet, receive and file.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Animal Control, Commissioner Marlowe. Audit, Commissioner Bernard.
No report.
Cable Tax, Commissioner Walker.
No report.
Development Tourism, Commissioner Vanatta.
No report.
Ethics, Commissioner Ash.
No report.
Finance, Commissioner Weathers. I got a motion, I heard a second. Any discussion from anybody? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Health and Recreation, Commissioner Patton.
Recreation met Tuesday, October the 22nd at 6 p.m. and then the minutes are in your packet. And they also met on November the 7th at 5:30 in the upstairs conference room, but for lack of a quorum, there was no meeting held. But the minutes are in your packet. I move they be received and filed.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Insurance, Commissioner Ash. Judicial, Commissioner Glover.
Move that be received and filed.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? I did not, a while ago, recognize, because my screen's not working, Commissioner McFarland. So if you're punching it and it's not coming up, just raise your hand. I'll look at you. I don't want to overlook anybody going through this, but for some reason, she's refreshed it, so it may work now. But Aaron, y'all not controlling this back here, right? This got to be coming from up here. Is that correct? You're controlling the speaker, my phone from back here? Okay. I'm not getting anybody then, okay? Planning and Zoning, Commissioner McFarland.
No report.
Rules, Commissioner Gentry.
No report.
Urban Type Facility Board, Commissioner Scruggs.
Met Friday, November 1st, in your packet, receive and file.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Finance Director Report, Mr. Aaron Maynard.
I don't have much for you tonight. Finance report's in your packet. There is nothing that affects the numbers that we would look at in terms of year-to-date and budget versus actual. But Commissioner Gentry did note that it is adding the budget columns together. The easiest place that I know of to look at this for you guys, just to see it real quick, is on about page 5. If you're looking there in Fund 121, the Special Purpose Tax Fund, you see we've taken in $3 million. That is a credit. That's a good thing in a revenue account, even though it's got brackets around it. $3 million. We've taken in $3,189,000 and change. We've spent $31,892.28. So again, the negatives are a good thing. At this point in time, we've taken in $3,157,000 more than we've spent, and all the percentages over on the right-hand side are correct. If you look at the budget estimate column, it's taken the $8,756,000 in our total budget for revenue and our $7,902,000 in expenditures and added both of those together instead of it being the net of the two. So we have a call into Skyward. Again, that affects nothing that I look at when I look at this report. but we don't want it to be that way, so we're working on getting it fixed. Also tell you that we are working on the comprehensive annual financial report for the first time. I think I mentioned that last month. As I've been able to determine right now, there are 11 counties in Tennessee that produce a comprehensive annual financial report, so we would be number 12. Of course, your big ones do, Shelby, Knox, and Davidson. Rutherford does here in Middle Tennessee. Williamson does not. Sumner does not. Montgomery does not. So we'll be getting out ahead of what most of the people that we consider our peer group do. And that really concludes my report, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Any questions by raise of hand? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Report from Budget Committee.
Budget Committee met November 7th, 6:30 in the conference room. Minutes are in your packet. They be received and filed.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Resolutions.
Resolution 1911-4, resolution of the Board of County Commission of Wilson County, Tennessee to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, and to amend the budget and appropriation resolutions for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation into the drug court.
I got a motion and a second. Now, any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 25 yes.
Resolution 1911-5, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee to reflect revenues received but not included in the original budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year, and to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make line item transfers into the Ag Center.
I got a motion and a second. Now, any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Patton, Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Gentry. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 25 yes and 0 no. Resolution passes.
Resolution 1911-6, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee to amend the budget and appropriation resolution for the 2019-20 fiscal year to make an additional appropriation for the data entry fee reserve and the archive fee reserve into Circuit Court.
Here's a second. I got a motion and a second. Now, any discussion? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Ash? All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 25 yes and 0 no. Resolution passes.
Resolution 1911-7, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, requesting a referendum be held at the presidential reference, well, I'll get it in a minute, presidential preference primary in March 2020 to increase the local sales tax by 1/2 cent.
I got a motion and a second. Now discussion. Commissioner Rich.
Yes, when this came before this body in September, it was just recommended that we put this back on the referendum with a time and a purpose to be decided by the Budget Committee. This resolution doesn't state where it's going to go, so I'd like to amend this resolution to say that this 1/2 cent sales tax, the money generated from the 1/2 cent sales tax increase would go to raises for classroom teachers.
I got a motion for the amendment. Do I hear a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Let the record reflect it was unanimous, and so it is amended. Now we're ready to vote on it unless I have other questions. Your panel on your numbers there, if you push to speak, is working now, so you can push that if you want to speak. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. Commissioner Weathers? Okay. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 25 yes, no no zero for no. Let me say this, if I can, since you've affirmed this. We're working with 4 different groups right now to educate or advocate for the sales tax. You remember the last time, you give us 54 days. We have about 106 as of today left before the vote. There are 4 groups out there. 3 would educate, and if one chose to do so, they would advocate, and that would be up to them to do that. But we feel like, at least from our office and from your seat, I hope, is that we want to educate the public so that at least they know what a yes means and what a no means, okay? And so we are doing that. We have been working with those people for quite some time, getting ready for your vote to be proactive, you might say, because, as we said, about 105 days left from here. Commissioner Kurtz?
Mayor, is that 106 days before early voting opens? Because I think that was one of the issues.
That was the issue, that we didn't get it out in time, so we'll be able to do that. As long as we have enough time to get it out before early voting starts, I could have 200 days. They won't start the educational piece until the right time. They know what that is, but I will ask, all of our commissioners, me and Mr. Maynard will get together and put together some data facts to give to you so that when you run into people, you can talk to people intelligently. And we'd love for you to speak to Rotary clubs, civics clubs, wherever you could, to spread the word about why we're doing this. And as Commissioner Rich amended it to go in towards teacher raises, that's a national crisis right now. Dr. Wright just echoed that that's going to happen from her and the school board as well. So I think it's important that we get out what it's for. Thank you. Commissioner Gentry?
On the referendum, who's going to write it to be on the ballot, and is our attorney going to do that?
What he did the last time, we'll do that and get that approved.
Reference teacher raises on that?
Will, yes, it will now.
Okay.
I really wish somebody else would write that.
You're the, okay, very good. Thank you.
No other questions. Thank you for letting me speak. Commissioner Marlowe.
Resolution 1911-8, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, for a letter of support for grant available through the African American Civil Rights Grant Program for the restoration and preservation of Pickett Chapel.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Gentry?
I just want to remind the commission that in January of this year, we passed a rules change that all resolutions except for honorariums must have 2 signatures for all these resolutions. I talked to Annette on this, and she has another signature that she has on it now, so she does have 2. Originally, there's only 1, so all resolutions except for honorariums need 2 signatures.
And the gatekeeper on that would be?
That's me, and I just noticed here there's another typographical. This is the 3rd one, and it's my fault. I didn't proofread the other numbers. I'll fix that, but in the future too, I had forgotten about that rule change. So if you bring me a resolution that does not go through a committee, I'll need 2 signatures. That's what Mr. John's saying. And so I had forgotten about that, so the gatekeeper let the cows out this time.
Okay. I wasn't for sure if it was us or, but we'll work towards that and making sure we get that done. Commissioner Stafford?
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure all commissioners realize that this is no money in, no money out. This grant has been given to people in Chattanooga, Memphis several times, Knoxville, and this they just want a letter of acknowledgement and support to go along. This is a federal grant, and they feel very strongly that they can get it. The city of Lebanon has already given their acknowledgments to it too, and I'd appreciate a 25 vote if at all possible. Vote your conscience.
Any other questions? Commissioner Patton, you good?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I did signature if she needed one.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing enough, Ms. Body, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed? Thank you. Let the record reflect it was unanimous.
Okay, the Resolution 1911-9, we need to go out of.
And 9 is in the packet. It's in the packet.
second signature, can I get a second on this resolution?
Good. Can we, you want to read it first? Commissioner Marlowe will go back and we'll read it. We got a second signature by Commissioner McFarland on this one, as Commissioner Stafford got hers. Continue, Commissioner Marlowe.
Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, requesting members of the legislative delegation to the General Assembly to co-sponsor and support a joint resolution to restore the emergency communications service charge for 911 fee to the monthly rate of $1.50.
Hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second? In discussion now, Commissioner Gentry.
This fee is going up from $116 to $150. Every cell phone that you own, everyone in the state, that will be $150 versus $116. Now, I have 3 cell phones, and I pay $2 and something. It doesn't seem like a lot of money, but for the whole state, since this was done, it was changed in 1998 or 2014. Since that time, there are millions more cell phones on the books in the state, and every cell phone number pays that tax. So there was a reason to reduce it from $150 to $116. Now, we don't need the money in our 911 system here, and I cannot be for this tax. On my particular cell phone alone, I pay over $20 in fees and surcharges on those 3 phones. And your home phone is also charged. It's not by individual, it's by phone number. So think about that before you support this. It's just a raise in taxes for all our constituents, all 140,000 of them. And every student in every one of our schools has a cell phone. I can bet you on that, because I've been in the school system, I see them. So I can't imagine why we would have to raise it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if I understand this right, this is a resolution that's going to give our support to our legislators to carry this at the state. It may or may not pass there, but we're not actually passing tax, and I'll go to you, Commissioner Ash.
What we're saying is, if you're gonna raise this, we want our part of the money.
Gotcha.
And it's going to the legislature. It's not a decision by us tonight, other than to say, we support this. If this, and I think it's gonna pass. I think every county has passed this resolution. So we had 31,713 cell calls in our 911 this year. I'm glad you're well off enough to have 3 cell phones. Some people don't have any, and we're responding to a lot of calls for people who are less fortunate than us, and so I would encourage you to pass this resolution on to the General Assembly.
Anyone else to talk on this? If not, I'll go back to Commissioner Gentry.
It doesn't say in the resolution that we get any more money. Now, this money goes directly to the state, and the state has some formula, I'm sure, to give this money out to the different counties based upon their need, probably. And it doesn't say anywhere in here that we're gonna get more money out of it.
I will address Mike, if you would address, I know you're on that board.
Yeah, no, not on that board. I represent that board, but what happens, Mr. John, you're right, there is a formula, and everybody's gets the money based on a certain percentage. So the same thing will happen here. It's not need-based. It's, okay. Now, the state keeps a great portion of that money, and then you can make an application for need-based allocation from them. Some of the smaller counties, up in Upper East Tennessee with small populations, do that from time to time. So, no, you're right, it doesn't allocate any money, but we would get our share on that if it's approved, unless they do something different in the State House.
And I'd also ask for a roll call on the board. Voice vote?
Yeah, it will be, because it's dealing with money, yes. Any other question from anybody? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? Please cast your vote. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 22 yes and 3 no. Resolution passes. Now, if I need to go out of session for this one, Mike? Yes, sir. Is there a motion to go out of session to address the WEMA last resolution? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed?
Resolution 191110, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Wilson County, Tennessee, approving a health care transportation service agreement with HCA Health Services of Tennessee, TriStar Summit Medical Center, Mount Juliet Emergency Department Campus.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second? I got a second. Any discussion now from anybody? Are we ready to vote? Please cast your vote. All hearts and minds good with your vote? Please record. 24 yes and 1 abstaining. Resolution passes. Any old business to come before this body? Commissioner McFarland.
I want to bring up, we've got to do better than having a meeting and then an hour later dumping a resolution on the table, because we had Commissioner Rich and I were scrambling just to see it and see what it was. We need to have some kind of, throwing that out to the rules, some kind of time like where we can look at them before they're just brought up here. And the second thing is, can we get a new projector up here? This thing is absolutely horrible.
Well, we've tried.
I'd like to put a form of a motion to get a new projector up here.
All in favor say aye. We got it. We'll take care of it. We got, Commissioner Stafford asked for new chairs. We got new chairs. Commissioner McFarland said we want a camera. We got a camera. Anybody else want anything before we go? Any new business? You got chairs. Commissioner Marlowe. Okay. I will invite all of you to our open house. Sarah and Bethany and all of them, they work hard on preparing food for that. It's December the 5th. It is the night we have, all of our committee meetings. Please stop by the office and partake of some good food there before you go to the committee meeting. Anybody else have anything? And I have tickets for sale here if you'd like to purchase some of those. Just want to give me a $20 donation. I need one motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye.